call this meeting to order of legislative for November 13th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. And Commissioner Clark, would you mind saying the invocation for us?
I will say the invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful country we live in. We thank you for all of our blessings and all of the goodness you've bestowed on us. We ask you to help us make good decisions tonight, salt our words, and allow us to get the people's work done as expediently as possible and as effectively as possible. In the name of Jesus we pray.
Amen. I have a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Second by Commissioner Sherman, second by Commissioner Teachner. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I have a motion for approval of minutes. Motion by Commissioner Teachner, second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Recognition of the public, we have two citizens. We have Mr. Kevin Baker. If you wouldn't mind coming up and state your name and address for us.
Kevin Baker, 42480 Wade Road, Portland, Tennessee. Speaking on item 8A, obviously, looking through the past documents, we omitted who's responsible for capital improvements, capital maintenance, that kind of big numbers. I couldn't find any reference to who's responsible for that. But that started me thinking, and I do my best thinking as I'm mowing the grass, that why are we in the library business anyways? You know, they're all located in the cities, city propers. Why don't we phase out of that? Especially when you've got our school system more and more is going to electronic formats, right? We just bought Kindles or iPads or something so the kids don't have to have textbooks. I mean, so they're leading the way. Why don't we follow them? Let's get out of the book industry, the book business. Now, I would say this, you've got to retain them because they become museums, so to speak. Right? You don't want to get rid of them, but if the cities want to continue them, let them continue it. But move on and follow technology. That's my point about that one. So I do think you need to do something because of the fact that whole issue of capital improvements seems to be vague. The second one, 8B, I support overriding the veto. And the reason I do, I'm very disappointed. To me, this is like harkening back to the past administration where hair on fire is the mode of operation. We should get away from that. Government should be deliberative and take your time and make sure, especially when you're using taxpayer dollars, it shouldn't be boom, boom, boom. From what I saw, it looked like you had a clause in there that if there was truly an emergency, you could have a way to work around it. But these things should be deliberative. And also, I was thinking about it, going back to my process engineering days. I see no metrics of how much money have we left on the table over the years. We don't know that our grant writers are doing a bang-up job or not. Right? We're all concerned about the grant writers. Well, I'd like to see some data. Monitor how much money is theoretically available, how much did we get, what was the timetable. These are some of the things that any well-run operation would be monitoring all the time. You know how much grant money is there, I got this much of the pie. This was the time frame that it was expected, I missed this because of this. Without metrics, you can't improve anything. And we're not measuring anything, so we can't improve anything. But yet we're worried about pushing it through overnight. That's wrong. That's just the wrong way to do it. That's irresponsible use of taxpayer dollars. Request the procedure requiring the cast vote records? Absolutely. As more and more we go into these issues with elections being compromised or concern of them being compromised, that record is paramount for people to be able to go back and see what actually happened. So I applaud you for moving that through. That's my 2 cents. Thank you, gentlemen. Great. No ladies, but if you were on the board.
Ms. Pam Nolan, if you would just want to come here and state your name and address for the record.
Pam Nolan, 199 Nolan Circle. Talking about hazard mitigation. Of course, I didn't go through and read the whole 200-page document. I just happened across this page, which interested me because I live at 199 Nolan Circle, which is a quarter of a mile from Bug Hollow Road and Highway 25. And every time it comes a heavy downpour, this is my driveway. There's my driveway. Under that water somewhere is my bridge that I have to cross to get to Bug Hollow Road. And at this point, I'm losing my double mailbox during one of the rains. It's gone. And during this rain, my driveway between the bridge and Bug Hollow Road washed out because the water was having to come around my bridge, and it dug a hole. So myself or my husband were unable to go to work that day until we could manage to get the hole filled back in to where we could drive across the bridge. All this happened mainly because of this spot right here, which everybody is familiar with. Because the Draper house is right here, the Bridal house is right here, the old store that is now gone is right there. This bridge on the other side of it, you see these tall trees? They're growing in the creek. There is a rock bar that is probably taller than me, because I just now stood on that bridge, and the rock bar, if you look across, it's about level with the road. So the water cannot go under that bridge. It gets backed up right there. It backs all the way up Bug Hollow. It destroys everything up the road. And all of that, in my opinion, I'm not the smartest person, but I'm not stupid either. It's because we don't dredge anymore. We don't dredge creeks. We don't clean them out. We don't clean out bridges anymore. We don't clean ditches. So every time it rains, everything comes across the road, makes it hazardous for drivers, hazardous for school buses, hazardous for anything, and it costs taxpayers more money because you're having to fix the road that washes away, replacing your own damaged properties, and come to me thousands of dollars to replace gravel and to fix these problems. I don't think we would need such a big 200-page hazard mitigation document if we would just start doing things like we used to do. Thank you.
All right, that concludes public comments. The chairman, I have none. For the county.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, old business. I'll move for discussion on item A. All right, so motion by Commissioner Klein for second. Commissioner Rinsco, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Real quick, just to report back to the committee. Last month, Chairman Hyde had motioned for myself and Mayor Isabel to go meet with Mayor Clary about clarification on the joint ownership of the library. And Chairman Hyde gave us a little bit of a background on how this library is unique to the other libraries in the county, whereas we own the other four, and we have joint ownership with this one. And the issue arose, obviously, because of the lack of clarification what routine maintenance, landscaping, other support services means in relation to the resolution, as well as the quitclaim deed that Interval did back, I think, in 2016 or 15 to the county, whereas it's just an undivided one-half of each entity has the library. And that caused a problem, I think, a little bit with people pointing to the school board that was responsible for fixing geothermal, which was not true. So, intent was just to clarify this. A meeting was set up that the county mayor was not able to attend, and the county city mayor has directed that his finance committee now work directly with us on this. And so, I guess without any, there was a note that the city mayor had sent BOMA, I guess his lack of understanding. He made a comment, he wasn't sure why Commissioner Mansfield singled out Hendersonville and said that our city spent more than any other city toward the county library building, and we contribute more money than any other city on the library system annually. I think unfortunately we couldn't meet with the city mayor because there's such a lack of understanding of the fact that that's part of what the resolution is that they fund and do contribute money, and it's a joint ownership, and it's a weird situation. So I'm happy to meet. I've spoken with the three members of the finance committee, but I basically wanted to just make a motion and bring this back to us as we motion to do that myself and the law director meet with their finance committee so we can deal with this, and that's my motion.
Second.
All right, so is there any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we're going.
This is the city of Hendersonville's finance.
Yeah, they're finance committee. It's what the city mayor's requested, so myself and the law director will meet. Resolution item B, I'm going to move to approve a veto override on the grant review. All in favor, say aye.
I want to get-
Discussion,
Yeah.
I'd like to get a queue.
Yeah, I want to get a Q too. I just want one or two questions.
Well, I'll say this, the current grant resolution that we are veto overriding primarily deals with future grant notifications. But what this veto has highlighted is, given opportunity, is that it's the commission's duty to bring our county into legal compliance with the Financial Management Act, of which this resolution attempts to do. And so, if refusing to come into compliance with this is a slippery slope of breaking the law, is what we're coming into. The Finance Act of 2012, partially was passed to improve the transparency of the grant process. When you read that act, and our county's financial system, I've found out, houses a grant ledger project module that was acquired to ensure county compliance with the Financial Management Modernization Private Act of 2012. And there's two sections that speak to it specifically, 7 and 8, that basically talk about the documentation for proficient accounting for grants and all financial transactions for all grants awarded to the county, about being part of that tracking process. So, it's grant tracking is not about just being accountable, transparent, proficient. It's definitely about the law in this case. And so this was a resolution that Chairman Hyde had asked that I put on the agenda, so we get advance notification. A better way of doing that, but for big items such as the water line grant, that we didn't find out until about a week beforehand, and anything November 22 is when that process went forward with the county mayor's office, and we just didn't know about it. So, and there's been other grants that come through that we rejected because of the details of them. And so, but part of this is just digging into this further is that 2012 Finance Act, is this actually part of the law and coming into compliance with this tracking on this. And so I was asked to, I spoke with our finance director, and we should override this veto, and then we should be sending this to financial management to basically implement a policy to be in compliance with it, from how that department can do that. And this is the same for highway, this is for our grant coordinator, this is for other things. The goal is that centralize the county system that all big counties like Sumner County have in the state. And 2/3 majority of the county commission passed this as a private act, and we just have not in compliance, and we still aren't in compliance with it. So I think that's why it's important to override this veto and be on it. Mr. Clark.
Well, if it's the law for us to be doing this, is there even anything to do with the resolution?
I think it is. I spoke to the finance director, still we need to go before.
Okay, well, I'll be in favor of it, because there's no way you can take a document like that and read it before a meeting and understand everything about it. And that's all I want to do. If I'm going to be prudent with the citizens' money and with the planning that goes in with the county, I have to have time to ask questions. And as with the water, that grant that left us, that was originally, we had to make a decision tonight, or do or die, and it sounded like we were going to die, then that's not a good position to put us in if we're going to make an intelligent and informed decision. So I'll be voting to override the veto.
Mr. Sheriff.
I would just, because I want to respond and maybe even have something of a dialogue with the county manager on that letter he wrote. And I just wanted to kind of point out a couple things here. And, I'm happy to be argued with. So, if we, there's kind of this introductory paragraph, and I'm referencing I don't see the page number here, but it's Mayor Isbell's response. The first paragraph is kind of staking claim of day-to-day operations and who owns what, which is fine, but there are a few statements here that I guess I just want to address specifically. As mentioned, the application process can take time. We will not always know a specific project when it comes to committee for review if the application window is shorter. And I totally understand that, and I had fielded questions from Chief Craddock on this and Judge Blanton, and because of that, I think we specifically put in here kind of a carve-out clause that said, hold on a second, the commission accepting for good cause shown beyond the control of the grant writer, which I believe this takes care of that, and I'll finish my thoughts here, but I maybe would like the county mayor to respond, because that's the whole purpose of that carve-out clause, was to make that okay. So that's one. The second issue, which I agreed with the county mayor on, which was, there have not been significant failures, or at least, we could point fingers back and forth, maybe there have, maybe there haven't, but like, on the floor, I moved to strike that first thing, and I feel like that has been, we basically addressed that issue, so that we don't make the resolution accusatory. And then the last thing that I have is at the end, we have, this leaves several questions unanswered and ambiguity in the policy construction. So I'm just interested in what those questions are. I guess at the end of the day, given that carve-out, given that I feel like we've addressed some of these things here, given that there's a very broad carve-out, what's going to break, and what are these questions that we're concerned about? I'm still in support of this, but I genuinely want to know what it is, because I just guess I'm not seeing it.
So what's your question?
Well, just if the county mayor could address each of the things I said, and then at the very end, he says, this leaves several questions unanswered and ambiguity in the policy construction. What are those questions that the county mayor believes to be unanswered?
I guess, Mr. Mayor, if you would just address the last one, what is it that you are questions of the ambiguity in the last part?
Yeah, I think, and this spurred from the conversation with the other grant writers. I asked them to come in and talk to me about it, and including Judge Blanton's office and Chief Craddock's office, and all of them had concerns with how the application of good cause, what would be the punitive damage if they saw that the window was too tight, they couldn't get it to you in time. Is there a punitive damage to that? And then there's concerns with the actual, once we get it done, say grants due, say the application's due on the 15th, and y'all have asked to review it, and it's not completed because of all of the factors that go into it. What if it's not done until, like, for example, the water grant was done at 4:30, it was due at 6. Do you need to review that prior to its submission at 6 o'clock? That's some questions that we had, or that they had, and that's some concerns that were brought to the table. And their concerns would be my concerns, because they're writing the grants, they're out there seeking it, not myself. I just see it after the fact. So that was the concerns that we had.
So, I'm going to go to the queue here. The aspect of accepting for good cause shown beyond the control of the grant writer, I mean, if there's something that is last minute, that's basically the flexibility there of the relationship. Like, okay, listen, we understand that's a problem, but like you mentioned the water line grant, that was, you knew about that in November of 2022. We found out a week before the meeting. That is not adequate time. That is not adequate time. So when you say, you gave the example of 4:30 and then it's due at 6 to review, well, that's not our problem because we didn't have time to review it. I mean, it's something that's known about almost a year. That is not adequate time. The intent that Chairman Hyde, I believe, I can't speak for him, he's not here tonight, was to prevent things of such a magnitude of $20 million in nature that has such a huge effect on not just individual citizens in the north end of the county, for example, but the entire county because of the impact of growth and the inability to pay for it. When you bring in new infrastructure, it's going to bring in new growth. Everybody knows that. That's what the whole conception of what happened this summer. Like, listen, we need some throttles on this so we can protect taxpayers from tax increases because of other cities' growth. What did Westmoreland do after that? They went and annexed 400 acres of land. They built almost 1,200 houses right after that happened. So it had the cause and effect that we predicted was going to happen. That's the fear that we have. And so this, the good cause, there's a difference in, not just being ridiculous, I think, of not having the flexibility, because nobody's wanting to do that. But the issue is just like, okay, if there's, I guess if you want to ask, I don't know if you said punitive aspect or what's the repercussions, the commission just doesn't approve it. I mean, that's just a repercussion of something. And so, I mean, that's just, if it goes to the legislative body, they don't want to approve it, that's up to the legislative body if it goes before. So, something comes to the process and it gets sent, okay, we're going to send it through and see if the commission wants to do it or not. I mean, but it's still got to go, any grant's got to go through the commission process anyway. So this is just a little bit of a governor on the process to get ahead of it. And it's also looking at the Finance Act 2012 is bringing that into compliance, because we should have been doing this anyway and have those procedures where this stuff is in that process, which doesn't happen right now. And so this is a bigger discussion. So thankfully, I think it's a happy accident that you vetoed it. I mean, I'm not upset. I think it's given and lent credence to the fact that, hey, we're actually not in compliance with the law because of this. So we do need to pass this so that Financial Management Committee and the Policy Subcommittee can look at these things to actually come into compliance with Section 7 and 8 of the Financial Management Act. So I think, but as far as, it's just not all things that have been applied for have been good. We have shot down stuff because of the strings attached. And, you made reference in this letter about it, and went to this previous commission. Well, the previous commission just rubber stamped everything because the sky was always falling. This commission got hired to stop those practices. And that's, our intent of what we're doing is to be cognitive and aware of what the implications are for these things for the most part. I think in Commissioner Stokes adding that clause is because I think most of these things are benign, but not all of them. And so this, I think, is written in a manner to allow things that are truly benign and aren't a problem. We're not going to have a problem with that. This standard yearly grants, stuff like that. Stuff that might pop up and you got 3 weeks notice. You're like, hey, I just found out about this 3 days ago. Can we put it on a budget for Monday? Sure, that stuff's going to happen. And that's accepted for good cause shown beyond the control of the grant writer. And then you go through the normal committee process. So I just don't see any downside to this at all. That's just me personally, but knowing that we need to be in compliance with state law, I think it's more effective. Commissioner Dean.
I got a few thoughts. So first of all, I had to apologize because when I voted on it last time, I was for it, and I believe I still am. But I wanted to say I didn't do my due diligence because I didn't go out and speak to anybody. I voted on it because it seemed like a good idea. And sometimes there's unintended consequences. I don't know if there are with that, but whenever that I'm acting as a representative of the people, I got to make sure that I've done my part and speaking to the folks. So I got to meet with the mayor. I got to meet with Ms. Norfleet, and I met with several other folks too, just to kind of see what's going on with it. I think that my worries are these. First of all, I didn't like, and it's not in there now, but I don't like the root of why it came about, but I do like the root of why it came about at the same time. I'll explain. I think that the whole water grant thing was a big red flag, and it said, oh man, it was one of those moments where we did all get caught off guard. But I think it was because of the way things kind of had always happened and gone through. So I do like that brought light to it, but I don't like that it seemed like that Ms. Norfleet was singled out in the grant. I mean, the resolution. But I mean,
I don't know why people keep saying that. It wasn't. I mean, those are individual interjecting. I don't know what to talk about.
Was there another? Whenever the significant failures line was in there, was there another significant failure that you could think of that it would have pointed?
Yeah, the one that we killed in the budget. It was for federal strings attached to it, and Biden and stuff. That was, it's something that was just,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
for, we actually.
That was for air conditioners.
Yeah, it was an energy compensation, so, I mean, that was another grant, I mean, there were several examples.
so, okay, so then that's a good example, but that bothered me because I thought, I don't want to do anything out of that kind of, I just don't want to be like that. It's just, I don't think we need to be like that, number one. Number two, I'm all for having more checks and balances. I think we need it. I want to make sure that there's not the unintended consequence of messing up grant money that could keep our operating, budget moving forward by lessening the burden on the taxpayers, because they're already paying the federal taxes. I don't want a chance of that coming back. I know we have this in here, we've already discussed it, but that's my one concern, and I thought, would it be appropriate, I'm just talking through it, I don't know, would it be appropriate to maybe have like a ceiling, or that maybe these smaller grants maybe wouldn't be on there, or should we have them on there? Because I'll tell you what I'm thinking, I'm just speaking freely here. I don't want a chance there being something where that we don't get grants, because maybe they don't get applied for, because if people are like, well, I don't want to go through the trouble of that, or I don't know what the reason would be, but I don't want to have a chance of them not applying for it just because we've got an extra piece of red tape. I'm just talking through it. Help me understand it and discuss with me on that. So.
I just disagree with you. I don't think any of that applies to this. I don't think there's any issue.
Anybody else want to discuss it?
I'm actually comfortable with this now. I obviously wasn't comfortable with it at the beginning. I'm comfortable with it now. I just would note here, because it's a very broad carve-out. I mean, maybe there's a takeaway here that the county mayor's office could present I think one of the questions the county mayor really comes down to policy. And a resolution is different than policy. Those are different things. Resolution is broad. Policy is designed to be really tactical. And so, I mean, I really think that we're going to miss a grant, or I really think a lot of this is as simple as an email to either or to the county mayor's office, that he could, an email from the grant writer to the county mayor's office, that he can route to the appropriate committee that states, we only found out about this grant at X amount of time. The deadline on it is at Y. We have had insufficient time to put this forward, given noticing requirements. Boom. I mean, that takes 2 minutes. And I feel like the county mayor's office could probably come up with a pretty good policy here that would be in keeping with the spirit of this. And given these broad carve-outs, I don't know. I feel much more comfortable with it now. I'm good for it.
Two-part process. One, this is the resolution push forward. The second part is that financial management, we can look at it, come up with those policies to answer those questions, address them. See, that's not going to get done in this resolution.
Yeah.
It can't. So you can't amend this. It's just pass through. So, I mean, great questions, but that would have to happen in the financial management.
I'm not asking for an amendment, but can I speak? So that's a great point, and I think that was what I was curious about, if there could be a little bit more of an applicable explanation of like what would be asked, like just walk through, grant comes across someone's desk. Reading this grant, sometimes it gets a little bit ambiguous just to figure it out if you're a grant writer. But like if I'm a grant writer and I see an opportunity come before, and if I look at it and I say, okay, whether we have 3 years or we have 3 days, I look at it and say, oh, here's an opportunity to either get $500 million or $500, and I say, guys, here's the grant attachment, and I'm going to apply for this. Just want to give you guys a heads up. Send all to everybody in the county, kind of thing. And then at that point, that's compliant, correct? Or am I wrong?
I mean, with the intent, the intent is for it to come forward when it's applying for it.
Of course.
If the commission even wants to do it, I mean, that's got to be a long-term intent. So, but as far as like, you're talking about policies, and so that's why, again, to repeat myself, that's something that I would intend financial management to come up with, and to be in compliance with the law.
Am I misunderstanding this, Mr. Chairman? I understood this, that as soon as it was decided that we would go for the grant, that we would receive a blank copy of it so that we would know the shortcomings and the long goings with the thing, just so that when we did get to a point where the grant writer was done and it was presented to us, that we wouldn't have questions, because hopefully in the time between the time that it was received by whoever was offering the grant and the time we voted on it, we would know all the idiosyncrasies of the deal and would have been able to ask, is that not what the spirit of this resolution is?
That's what it says.
Okay, that's what I thought, okay.
Just to give the example that we had about the HVAC, we had two situations that arose as far as reading that grant was concerned. First, we will have to create a team that would do inspection of all the people that we ever hired for DEI. That was the first thing. And the second thing said was, this grant, the policies in it can change at any time. That was at the federal level that we could not, do anything about it. So those were two reasons I know that we disavowed that one.
I understand that, but
Call question.
Go ahead.
Call question.
Second. All fair side?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. All right. You're asking.
Okay, so, I thought that Commissioner Klein said the same thing that I was just asking, and he said, no, that would be worked out in financial management. I'm just trying to ask, in that situation that he just gave, would that have needed to go any other route? I mean, it would have been sent out, they would have seen it, and then it would come before the proper committee, and then it would come before the commission, correct? I mean, am I missing something? Like, there would be an email and say, hey, guys, here it is, read through it if you will.
So read your first, now therefore be it resolved. That's where you need to focus to answer your question.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Sumner County Board of Commissioners meeting in regular session on 23rd day of October 2023 requires the Sumner County grant writer, prior to the beginning of the grant application process, to present to the appropriate committee all available information for all grants which the grant writer will begin the process of application in the following month. And now I know that's what that says, but I'm asking you is, just in the application, I'm just trying to figure this out, how it would actually look, because I'm thinking that it just requires them sending out the grant, and then at that,
committee.
well, but really, realistically, I would think it'd be to every commissioner, wouldn't it?
That's what
I would think it'd be all commissioners. And then, but I mean, whatever, either way, I mean, but they send it out, and then it comes before the appropriate committee as the chairman of that committee, budget or whatever, I guess it'd be budget more than anything, would see fit. And then at that point, it would come before for a vote, but everyone would have it in advance in that way. Am I missing anything?
No, that's not what the resolution says. So, the resolution says it comes to the appropriate committee first.
Hence the reason why I'm asking the question instead of having to read that paragraph. I was asking it because it doesn't say it.
I guess I'm just not understanding what you're saying now, because to me, it does say it, so.
He wants it to go to every commissioner initially, rather than...
I don't want to make an amendment. I'm just asking how it works.
That's what I'm gathering.
That's policy.
I feel like we're in a circular discussion now. I don't know how to answer your question other than what I've already said. I'm sorry, Jamie.
Like you said, that's what the resolution, you said that because the resolution doesn't say that. I said, well, that's what I'm asking, and you said, but it says that. And I'm just trying to find out
You have
what.
something to add to this?
I guess I'm going to try to answer that, at least from my interpretation of it. The resolution says the what, that it has to get to the appropriate committee. It does not define the how. And what you're asking are some of the hows. And do they send it to, you can check that box by sending it to every commissioner. It would by default get to every committee, because at that point, all the commissioners have it. But the purpose of the resolution is not to define a how. The purpose of a resolution is just to define the requirement. The purpose of the policy, which I believe we talked about here, is that the mayor and the financial management committee will work together to, this says what you must do, just like, military. You must take this objective. Does not tell you how to take the objective. How to take the objective is going to be written in a forthcoming policy, and then that policy will be passed to the grant writers and all of the any subordinate organizations throughout the county, and then they'll use that policy as their SOP. That's the way I understand this. Maybe I'm missing something, but
That's how I understand it too, and that's why I'm asking if that's what it is.
Jamie, I don't have any more answers for you. So we're going to move on, because, Matt just answered it. I'm trying to answer it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, then.
I wasn't asking you that. I was just saying I agree with what you said.
yeah.
Okay. We're good. Are we clear? I don't know how to answer it any different.
We're clear, and we come into proper legal order with the private act.
That is the goal. Correct.
Yeah, through those policies, so it makes sense.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thanks, man.
All right, new business. Oh, sorry, going to C is request for procedural requirement for Castro record request. Law director, we basically asked him to just look into this, and he's not here, so I'm just going to keep this on hold business for next month without any objection.
No objection.
New business, veteran service report presentation A.
Good evening. I think everybody sees from the note, they get the typical good news stuff. We had several residents that came in, we helped fix the errors and got a lot of money back for them. The one I want to highlight is the second paragraph, which talks about a partnership that we're looking to enter into the VA medical system. The local version, or the local branch of the VA medical system is the Tennessee Valley Healthcare Service, and they initiated a request, and we're going to sign an MOU with them to provide healthcare services here at the Sumner County Administration Building in the way of our computers and IT equipment. So it's specifically targeting rural county residents, but instead of them having to go down to Nashville, go down to Murfreesboro to see their doctor, they can offer them in this building appointments where they can come in and do telehealth appointments with the doctor. So we are initiating that, and we've also, I talked extensively with the VA director about ways we can improve that, because the Veteran Service Office includes several volunteers, several of which live all throughout the county and have expressed the willingness to go into people's homes if we wanted to, and have the appropriate IT equipment. So that way the person wouldn't even have to drive in from Bethpage or Tessenny Springs to go out and get to them. So more to follow on this one, but I'm pretty excited about this initiative. I think it would save a lot of our veterans time and effort driving down into either Murfreesboro or Nashville for medical appointments that they can do here in the building. So I'm pretty excited about that one. And that'd be it. Several outreaches. In the beginning of the month, our new veteran service officer, the part-timer, graduated, so we now have 3 accredited service officers available. And have the rest of the time for questions.
I just got one comment, Mr. Brown. Whenever I retired from active duty, it was basically just, you don't have to go, that's it. And I will give Jeff a lot of credit here. He upgraded my disability 30%, 60%, and there's a lot of back pay that they are having to do because of that, because it did go back to a certain point. And my eyes were open whenever my oldest son-in-law retired from the military, and what he went through as far as trying to, and he's 100%, he's got 2 traumatic brain injuries and all that kind of stuff from Afghanistan and Iraq. But, it's just like night and day as far as a lot of this goes from then to now, and I do appreciate what you do. That's awesome.
If anybody wants to, like WHIN, like this weekend we did another interview, and I had a couple, 3 good news stories from the whole year we put out, so we're trying to get more of the good word out, more than just this room about the good stuff within the Veteran Service Office.
Can I ask one quick question? If someone wanted to find out how to to get those benefits that Bob was speaking about, or that, you know, that we know about already, but if someone listening, where would they go?
The easiest way is to call in or send us an email. Through the website, they can get to our email.
We can get the website.
Yeah, we've been taking a couple of requests to move it through Facebook, but most of ours, if you see in the stats, I mean, for every 2 appointments we do, we get 3 walk-ins. So I can't tell them just walking in and asking a question. So,
What's the website? Just for the
this is
people.
the county's website. It's got a link to our at.
It is the Sumner County TN.gov, yes.
Yeah, we don't have a separate website. We just reside on that. We have a little section there, and I think it's got a link to our email address, and then our phone number's up there as well.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Jeff. All right, item B, hazard mitigation plan resolution. Got a motion?
I'd like to move, discuss, and get in queue.
A motion to discuss by Commissioner Sherrill.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Teacher. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, floor is open.
So, I've heard this a few times, and we heard it earlier today. Maybe this is another question for the county mayor, or we have a highway here. Why aren't we dredging anymore? What caused that change?
You want to answer that question? TDEC in 2010, wasn't it? Do you remember? I think it was around 2010. I think.
TDEC changed their rules, and you gotta go through all kinds of, red tape, I guess, with TDEC, you gotta get permission. I think Kim Widener may know more about that, you know? Okay. Dredging creeks with TDEC. They basically, they forbid it.
So TDEC forbids it.
They
That's why we
really,
have massive flooding in Sumner County because of
Yeah.
a lot of people, and development. It's a problem, especially in Cotton Town and Buck Hall. It's
Another thing.
Dredge the creek.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard so many complaints about that right there. And, you know, we delved into that during the whole Bridal House discussion and all of that.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with it.
Well, it's all, I mean, it's fine. I just wanted to, I was just genuinely, so it sounds like, and it's a totally separate thing, it sounds like we need to, once again, harass our state delegation.
Bob?
This is a good document. I mean, it's got a lot of information in it and everything. I saw that there's a resolution, but I didn't see a resolution. So why is this before us?
Is there not a resolution in here?
I didn't see one.
There'll be, on what y'all want to do with it, we need more studies, so I'm waiting for the committee's direction on that.
Brings up another question. And going through a lot of this, this manual here, I noticed that it was out of date. Down there where it's on table 2, still has Greg Miller, John Poss, Jay Austin, Sumner EMS.
Well, are you talking about the meetings when they met?
No, this is just who is on the HMPC committee. Those are the members of it.
What's your number page? Can you tell me the bottom?
It's 8.
All right.
Well, yeah. You look down at the bottom.
Well, this is dealing with meeting dates. If you look up here, I know, but you look here at the meeting dates, these are the people who are involved with the meeting when those dates happen, and here's the number of dates. So that is not saying they're members, that's just those who are represented on those days when they met.
Okay.
In March, April, and April of
Okay.
2023.
Yeah, and then you flip to page 10, it's got past meetings for planning meetings. Then there's some other things here, like, when it gives population data on page 20. It has under 5, under 18, and then it gives over 65. And I was just, why did we skip that big middle group there? I'm not, I'm just, I just like to get a good document.
Hey, Bob, if we want to spin a rule and ask questions, we can do it. So, do we want to spin a rule?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ken, would you mind coming up and addressing me? Thank you. So the question, I guess, was on page 20, there's comment. That's our number, page 20 of age group, missing in the middle demographic.
Yeah, I did not bring 20. I brought the executive summary and 5 through 13.
You would like to move it?
Yeah,
He asked a question, yeah.
I can look at that, but to answer the first question, people who are on the committee, you're exactly right. We can't take those names off because they
Okay.
no longer have tenure here.
Okay. Well, I-
Based on the date today.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, can I answer that question? I know how to answer that question.
Commissioner Teacher, Commissioner Teacher, I think you had an answer for this question on the demographics, so I'll let you go ahead.
The reason why just is because it's outliers. Under 5 is not school age, under 18 is not adult, and over 65 is senior citizen. That's the only reason why those three are in there. It doesn't add up to 100%. Notice that.
Well, I know that, but I just did not understand. I looked up here.
Yeah, I don't know why we're going to put the balance of that percentage in that, between 18 or 19 and 64. Yeah.
I just did not understand why that was missing, because
Yes,
I
sir.
just didn't see anything as far as those people, that group being at risk or anything like that in the data that I read prior to that, and that was the whole case of it. Just said demographics, not people that are at risk. So that was my issue there. And then there's another, I would love to know, I know, I've got this dog here, I'll have to look. Another one back here in the back, about the 500 and 100-year flood. There's no legend to tell you what.
And that's all done by the NFIP. We really don't have anything to do that. All we can do is plug numbers in for that from NFIP.
Page 44. Yeah, I would love to understand that, because, 2010 was a wake-up call for me. And if I just knew what all that meant right there, that would be good information for me.
And we work a lot with hydrologists with the National Weather Service, and a lot of that data comes from them and NFIP, so, quite honestly, it's above my pay grade. So,
Well, I'd just like to understand some of this data a little bit better.
I think Josh Sutter would be really helpful here, I would think that maybe the thing to do is to push this off a month so that we can get all these questions answered. This is a big deal, and you're right, it's a good document, but there are a lot of questions that I still have on it that I was not able to get to prior to tonight's meeting, so.
Is there anything that's going to, I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't think the world's going to end this one. I always ask, is something going to go wrong if we bump this off a month?
if we have a large-scale disaster, we're at risk for not receiving the benefit from the plan. So far, we've gotten resolutions from White House, Phillipsville, and Westmore. And as the resolutions are done, they have an approved plan. If you don't have a resolution, you don't have an approved plan. So,
But like tactically, like there's a disaster, is that going to prevent a resource from coming out the door?
Not resources coming in, but if you look at the benefits I think that's probably on page 5 or 6, or page, when you look at the benefits for the BRIC program and things like that.
Is the 2017 plan in effect until December?
It expired.
It has expired?
The last plan has expired.
It has expired.
So we're not in a plan at all right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a plan right now.
I'm going to move to it. Well, I guess we need to go back to our rules.
Any more questions for Mr. White?
When did 2017 expire?
5 years after it was approved.
Oh, so 2022, December 31st, 2022.
That seems like there was a July date, but I don't have that date. But
So we've been kind of
Without a plan?
Without a plan for a year.
well, no, we started the process, and FEMA has taken forever, longer than they normally take to approve. I don't know if they're backed up or what it is, but they took a really long time to approve. It's been in, we had where we normally have 5 or 6 meetings, we had 3 meetings and a public meeting. And the plan went in for approval from them. And we did have some hydrological data that had to go in from the National Weather Service, and it went in, and it went back, and it just took, it seemed like a really, really long time for them to come back with an approval for us.
But, so, this has been expired since at least December 31st.
I'll look at the exact, I'll look at the
Let me
exact.
just say, if we're to defer it, we're losing out on something, but we've been losing out on something for 4 or 5 months at minimum. I guess
I'll
based
look
on
at
logic.
I'll look at those dates and see. I can actually.
So, but it sounds like we haven't been covered under a mitigation claim for at least several months at a minimum.
Probably, yes, sir.
What if, I guess, there had been tornado last month and we didn't have this, what would have happened?
There would be some benefit to our citizens and to us that we couldn't take advantage of.
Like a financial benefit?
I'm sorry?
Financial benefit?
Yes.
Like federal flow down?
Yes.
Okay, got it, that's helpful.
Yeah, that is helpful. Can I ask a question? And we're required by law to have one of these plans.
To qualify
To
for
qualify
these,
for this.
I don't think you have to have one, but if you want to participate in some of these programs, you have to have them. You have to have a plan.
Okay, thank you.
I can be prepared for it by the commission meeting. I mean,
I'd like to move to
Yeah.
approve it.
Yeah,
Let's
second.
I'll bring it back in discussion. We got a motion to approve, we got a second by Commissioner Teacher. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
And can I ask on that, will that resolution be written?
Yes.
Just, I need to clarify, I know I'm a little out of order asking, but
That's fine. Okay. All right, item D, reappointment of judicial magistrates. Do you have a motion?
We're skipping the, skip C.
Sorry. My apologies. Resource Authority Agreement. This, I went back and listened. I thought this was, we were going to put this back on the agenda, and I can't remember if we actually motioned to do that, so my apologies. But I want to just defer this until a future date, such as when we hear back from the AG. I can get a motion for that.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner second by Commissioner Klein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Steve, we're going to just drop that off the agenda until we get the AG opinion back, and then we'll bring this story back up to the court. All right, now to item D, reappointment of judicial magistrates.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Sho, second, Commissioner Teacher. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Commission recognitions and
So moved.
proclamations. So moved by Commissioner Sho, second by Commissioner Teacher. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Sho, second by Commissioner Klein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Moving us along.